the next thing we're going to look at now is creating a sketch, and then from there, extruding a sketch into an object. So I'm going to turn off my bodies. In fact, I'm just going to create a new document. So I can just use the Control-N shortcut, and it'll create a new file for me here. So if I want to create a sketch, I can just click this arrow up here. So this is my sketch tool, and it gives me this little sort of three-sided template. And what it's asking is, what plane do you want to draw your sketch on? So if I highlight this, this is my basically flat plane. This is my sort of XY plane. If I go over here, this is my ZX plane. So this would be an upright side, and this would also be an upright side, but the other way around. So in general, if you're just creating a sketch for an individual project, it doesn't really matter, because if I use that one, so I'm actually drawing vertically, I can just rotate my view around to compensate for that. But generally, the best way to do it is to go vertical. So if I click at the top here, so I'm bird's eye, I click that box to say, this is the plane I want to draw on. And you can see now it gives you a grid reference. And this is more just so you know, this is my X, this is my Y, and the values aren't particularly useful because we can see them when we draw. Now I've got a whole bunch of tools across the top. These are all of my shapes that I can create in 2 dimensions. So I can scroll down here, and the Create tab has now changed. So I can do a line, I can do rectangles, either from 2 points, 3 points, or a center. Again, I can do a circle from either the very center, and I just say, how big do I want the diameter? I can pick 2 points, or you can do some more complex things there. The arc is picking 2 points and creating a curve between them. Polygon is just more complex shapes. Ellipses, again, are just that elongated or that squished circle. So they're sort of the most common ones. Another really useful one is text. So if I want to type something, I can use the text tool. What I want you to try and do as a bit of a project is I want you to create a name tag. So we're going to create a box or a shape, and then I want you to put your name in it, and we'll extrude that into a 3-dimensional object that we could then print. So in terms of making that initial box, there's a lot of options, and this is the thing that I love about Fusion 360 is there's always multiple ways you can do something. For example, I could use the line tool, and note that anytime it has a letter next to it, that's a shortcut. So once you get more familiar with this, if I'm doing something, I can just press L and it jumps to my line tool. So line tool is basically you click where you want to start. So I'll start dead center, and as I drag my line, it tells me the length of it. So I want a 10 centimeter base, which is 100 mils. So remember, we're using millimeters. I hit enter. The only thing with this is once you enter a length, it loses the feature to continue. So I press L again, and I'll go up to 50. If I click though, so if I go roughly 50, we'll go there. If I click the left mouse button, I can keep going. So it continues to run the lines. Like I said before, if I type in 100 and press enter, I have to then go back and either click line or use the shortcut to reconnect it. And once I've connected all the lines, it'll shade in very similar to SketchUp does to tell me, yes, you have an enclosed shape. So that's my box. I'll zoom in a little bit. My next thing is I want to put my name in it. So I can either use the shortcut T for text, or if I haven't set that up or I've forgotten it, I go here, I click text, and it's asking me, it hasn't specifically said here, but in text it wants me to know, here we go, the first corner of the frame. So I want it there, and I drag to say this is the second corner. It's basically like creating a text box. Once I click the second time, it'll say sample text up here. So as soon as I type in my name, it'll start to fill it in. And just like you would expect, I can change the sizes, make it as big as I can to fit in that space, and I'll go from there. I'll center it, align it in the middle of my box, and I'm happy with that. I can change my fonts and things as well. Then I just click OK, and if there's nothing else I want to do here, I don't want to add any other shapes and things like that, I would click Finish. While we're here, I just want to show you the Arc tool. So 3-point arc is creating the curve. So I'm going to go from here over to here. And now it says as I move my mouse, it'll create an arc. So I can either create a very shallow one, I can create sort of a perfect 45 curve on the edge, or I can do some weird sort of bulbous looking thing on the outside if I wanted to. So if you wanted to curve an edge, you could do it this way rather than using the fillet or chamfer tool. I often use this if you're using a very precise angle. So using the line tool, I might go, I want to come in 3 centimeters, maybe not, that's a bit big. I'll come in 5 millimeters, use my line tool again, come in 5 millimeters that way. And now when I go to my arc tool, I've got precise points to go from. So I can create a really nice arc there. So once you're done, I've done all my sketching, I just click Finish Sketch. And this is what I was talking about in the previous video. My sketch is showing up now. So I could turn it off if I want to, but everything in this sort of blue color is telling me that that's a sketch. So I can do a few things. If I want to extrude my box into a 3-dimensional shape, I can either come over here and go extrude, or as it says, the shortcut is E. And then it just says what profile, click the thing you want to basically pull or push to use the Google SketchUp turn. And because I want this piece as well, I'll click that. Now you'll notice if I angle it, I've got a little arrow here, or I've also got a thing. And this is saying how far do you want to stretch it, which in this case is saying how thick do you want your plate to be. So I could make it 40 mil, which is 4 centimeters, or because it's only a nameplate, I'm going to make it really small. I'm going to say 2 millimeters. And then I'll just press enter to say I'm done. And now I have a box. So this is the base plate for my name tag. If I didn't already draw the arcs here, I can create an arc using the fillet and chamfer tool. So if I use the fillet tool, it says click the corner you want to do, and I can click multiple, so I can go and click all of my corners, and then again I can either put a specific value in, or I can just drag this arrow till I get a curve that I'm happy with. So if I say, yep, that's a nice looking curve, hit enter, I've now got curved corners. If I want to chamfer it, I use the chamfer tool, do the same thing, click both corners, I'll pan my view so I can see it, and now you'll see as I drag, it creates flat edges. So that's my chamfer. And then whenever I'm happy, I go, okay. Now I want to put my name in it, and I can either have my name protruding from the plate, or I can have it cut into the plate like I've laser cut my name out. So my sketch is gone. I can either do two things. Like I said, I can either click the sketch back if I want it, and you'll notice it won't let me select because this body is in the way. So I can do two things here. I could either turn off the bodies, and now I can access my name, or I could just flip it and go underneath as well if it'll let me do that, which in this case it won't. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off the body so I can get to my name. I will select my name, and I'll use the shortcut E to extrude. And now if you see I drag, oh, it's saying it's because it's not visible. Here we go. Now you can see as I've dragged, it's created my name in 3 dimensions. By default, if you extrude an object through another object, it'll change to the operation cut, and that's why it's red. Because if I do that, it's going to cut my name out of the plate. So if I turn the sketch back off, you'll be able to see it. It's now cut my name out. If I go back and extrude it through, but I actually want my name printed on the top, not cut out, I just go over here and I change it. I've got a few options. I could join it. If I automatically know I don't want to move it around, I'm happy where it is, I will just join the two pieces together and it'll create one object with my name stuck to the front. If I wanted to edit it, or I wanted this to be a separate piece that I'll print differently, I would go to New Body. And if I click New Body, it looks exactly the same. It's not red, so I know it's not cutting. And I click OK. But now you'll see there's all of these bodies here. So this is my plate. So I'll label that plate just so it's easy to keep track of. But now every single letter is its own body. So I could move them around. I could now print them as individual files on the 3D printer if I wanted to. I could alter one specifically if I wanted to, things like that. But in general, because of what we're doing, we want it to be one object. So if you're ever in a scenario like this, I want to connect the two. I go modify, combine, that. Click all of the pieces that you want, and you'll see as I click them, it highlights them. I could also do this differently. If I use the combine tool, I could just click these and say, combine all of these pieces here. It's still saying join. Remember, I could go cut, and it's going to cut them out. In this case, I want to join them. And then I go, yep, done. You'll notice now there is only one single file, and I cannot separate these anymore. So that is my nameplate, and I'm virtually ready to take it to a slicing software to 3D print it. So for now, play around with that, get used to some of these shortcuts, make a shape of your choice. Remember, I can always go back to sketch, and if I click the face, that's the face that I want to sketch on. I click that, it'll automatically orientate it so I can see, and I can use tools to create circles. I could use the line tool to sort of freehand some sort of shape if I wanted to. If I wanted to do something wacky, it's entirely up to you. So make yourself a nameplate. Remember, use the text tool. I need to be in Sketch, and either the shortcut is T or you can find it there, and you can write stuff in here. So that's the Sketch tool and making a nameplate.